What happens when a civilization gets everything it ever wanted and then realizes it's bored out of its mind? Here's the weird part. In this story, the beings who solved scarcity don't come to us as conquerors or saviors. They come as tourists. They have infinite comfort, and they're paying for something you and I complain about every single day. Waiting, worrying about money, missing the bus, wondering if things will work out. It's a strange thought, isn't it? That your stress, your am I doing enough with my life, might be someone else's luxury good. So, as you settle in and let your mind wander, imagine this: a future Earth that feels finished, and a travel vlogger named Aria who's tired of polished, safe trips. She's built a career performing tiny struggles for views until the beings who move suns invite her to help them feel primitive again. No grand invasion, no warning, just a quiet morning in Austin, a smart apartment that already knows her mood, and a message from something that doesn't live on any world at all. By the time Aria Vale met the beings who could move suns, she already lived in a world that felt finished. Earth was calm. The storms of past centuries were old clips in history feeds. Food grew in tall, quiet towers. Cars moved themselves. Illness was rare and short. People still argued online, still tried to stand out, still chased the next small spike of attention. But the sky stayed clear. The oceans stayed in their basins. No great wars tore anything apart. From orbit, Earth looked like a success story with good lighting and careful filters. Aria had built a life talking to cameras about that smooth, easy world. She filmed herself walking through floating markets, riding sky trams, staying in smart hotels that changed their walls to match her mood. Millions watched her trips from their beds, their pods, their safe, ordered lives. She thought she had seen everything that could surprise her. Then a message arrived from something that did not live on any world at all. Aria Vale woke up to light that already knew her mood. Her apartment's ceiling was a soft blue dome, fading towards sunrise, pink around the edges. The wall beside her bed showed a slow turn of Earth from space, clouds sliding across oceans like careful brush strokes. The air smelled faintly of coffee and rain because her sleep band had sent her heart rate and micro movements to the home system, and it knew she needed comfort. "Time?" she asked, voice still rough. 8:12, Austin local, the room answered. Its tone was gentle, like a friend who never got tired. "Your first call is in 38 minutes. You have 30 new comments tagged as priority from your last upload buffer," she said. "I'll look after shower." A faint chime agreed. Aria lay still for another breath. The mattress adjusted with her, tiny motors shifting to keep the perfect curve of her spine. She stared at the slow spin of the planet on the wall and saw herself there too small to see, sitting in some airport pod, laughing into a lens. She had used that shot in 3 different intros. "All right," she sighed. "Let's work." She slid from bed. The floor warmed where her feet touched it. In the mirror, her face appeared already marked with the day's makeup plan, a ghost layer that showed what the system suggested. She swiped it away with a small shake of her head. Natural today, she said. We're doing humble space girl. Updating look, the room said. Her shower mist flowed around her in a warm cloud washing her skin, without harsh pressure. Music played from the walls, a soft synth track mixed by a fan using samples of her voice. She had approved it last month for her use. My voice in your art contest. By the time she stepped into her dressing nook, her schedule floated in the air before her, synced to her lenses. Morning, Nova, she said, calling her personal AI assistant. A small, bright sphere appeared in her lens view, pulsing lightly near the corner of her right eye. To her, it looked like a glass marble with a little galaxy inside, hovering in front of her. Good morning, Aria, Nova said. You slept 7 hours and 12 minutes. Your stress markers are slightly elevated from comments overnight. I suggest starting with a pre-record instead of going live. Show me the worst ones, Aria said. Text slid past her eyes, pulled from fans and critics. Some loved her last video about the Pacific Sky elevator, calling her brave, honest, funny. Others said she staged too much. A few said she had sold out since her early trips, when she carried her own bags and stayed in bunk pods. Aria smirked. They like to see me struggle, she said. Engagement is 23% higher on clips where you look mildly stressed, Nova replied. But your long-term mental health will do some fake stress today. Aria cut in. Nothing heavy. She dressed in soft cargo pants and a loose white shirt that creased on purpose. Her hair brushed itself under little guiding drones. She added a thin, black travel band around her neck. The same one she had worn in her first ever vlog, when she had taken a bus instead of a sky rail. Nova set up shot in the kitchen, she said. Lights warmed in the open kitchen space. The far wall switched to a view of a sunrise over the Indian Ocean, even though outside her real window Austin was already bright. She walked into frame, checked the tiny preview in the corner of her lenses, and smiled. Hey, Drift Crew, she said, voice sliding into her practiced tone. It's Aria. Today we're talking about how travel feels when the world is kind of done. She paused, letting her face shift into a thoughtful frown. Like everything works, she said. Flights never crash. Weather almost never ruins plans. Food is clean. Translation is perfect. Whereas the chaos, she rambled for 10 minutes, half from a script, half from instinct. Nova pinged small notes into the corner of her view. Hold that line, smile here. Repeat that phrase. Her hands moved on their own, cutting the air, tracing arcs of meaning. When she was done, she ended with a laugh. Anyway, I'll show you something new soon, she said. I'm hunting for a trip that actually scares me, just a little. She cut. Nova sent her a graph of predicted watch time and ad fit. Green bars. Safe, successful. Any real offers? Aria asked as she poured coffee from the wall dispenser. The machine had already adjusted the blend to match her last 10 mornings. You have 3 invites from Mars domes, Nova said. 2 from Titan float cities, one from a deep-sea colony under the Philippine Trench. All offer standard influencer packages plus personal hazard insurance. I've done Mars, vistas, she said. I've done Titan light shows. The deep-sea place could be cool. She sipped the sweet hot coffee, then set the cup down with a soft clack. Show me. Images filled her view, blue light underwater, huge clear tunnels, people drifting in slow gravity under calm guidance bots. Safety nets in every shot, emergency lifts every 10 meters. She sighed. Looks like a spa, she said. They hide all the risk. Risk reduction is a major selling. A new tone cut through Nova's voice. It was not one she had heard before, a deep, low musical chord, like the start of an old film. Her kitchen lights dimmed, then returned to normal. The sunrise on the far wall froze. Nova, she said. Yes, Nova answered. Nova answered. Received something. An inbound communication not marked from any known Earth or off-world network. That's not funny, she said. We don't get mystery calls in 2180. Filter it. I tried, Nova said. For the first time in years, the AI sounded slightly unsure. It is not passing through normal channels. It is arriving. How? Aria asked. Her question answered itself. A point of light opened in the air above her kitchen table. It was not a screen projection. Her lenses confirmed that. It was a real thing, hovering, drawing the room around it into sharp focus. It started small, like a pinprick. Then it grew slow and smooth into a sphere about the size of a child's head. Its surface shone like polished metal and clear water at the same time, colors from the room sliding over it and sinking in. It made no sound. The air did not move. Aria set her coffee down very carefully. Nova, are you seeing this? She asked. Yes, Nova replied, recording from 6 angles, scanning. It is not made of any known alloy. It is not projecting from any known device. There is no sign of hostile intent. Comforting, she muttered. Words formed across the surface of the sphere. Not in ink, not as light laid on top. They rose and sank as if the sphere itself was thinking and changing with each second. The language shifted until it matched her own. Aria Vale, it said, in clear, warm text. You are invited, her throat tightened. By who? She asked. This some brand stunt? Nova check contracts. Did I sign up for this? This does not match any marketing pattern, Nova said. The bandwidth involved is extreme. I am still trying to track the source. The text changed. We are the Kardashev Collective, the sphere said. We request your help with a tourism project. Compensation will satisfy all your current material goals. The experience may satisfy needs you do not yet have words for. Aria laughed, a short, sharp sound. Kardashev, she said. Type 2 or 3 god things. That Kardashev, There are no confirmed contacts with any Kardashev-level entities, Nova said. This is likely a sophisticated simulation or prank. Still recording? Aria asked. Of course, she straightened, old habit clicking into place. Even now, even confused, she knew how to stand for a camera. If you are real, she said to the sphere, prove it. Move something big. Or, I don't know, show Saturn closer than any of our arrays. Her kitchen ceiling went dark. Stars spread overhead in a perfect steady field. The walls melted away into black. Her floor stayed under her feet, warm and solid, but every other surface showed space with such clarity that her eyes watered. Saturn filled the view. It hung above her, rings flaring wide. Not the soft images she had seen all her life, but harsh, bright light off ice shards, tiny shadows of rocks cutting sharp lines into the glow. Lightning flickered deep in the clouds, silent and white. Data streamed into Nova's voice. These are real-time photons. The AI said, almost in awe. This is not archive footage. This is a live view from a distance we cannot currently reach. The energy cost of this link is extreme. Aria's heart thudded. Okay, she breathed. Okay. So you are real. The kitchen snapped back. Her cup sat where she had left it. The sunrise returned to the wall, just a little farther along. The sphere waited. We maintain and visit many stellar systems. The text on it said. We have resolved our material scarcity. Our guests lack something more subtle. We have studied your culture's travel media. You are skilled at presenting experience. We would like to hire you as a cultural authenticity liaison. Their words, Nova noted quietly, match your public tags from the last 6 years. What is this tourism thing? Aria asked. You guys can move suns. Why do you need me? Our guests wish to visit an age of scarcity, the sphere said. They wish to feel hunger, time, pressure, uncertainty, effort. They no longer remember these states firsthand. We have created a resort that models your early 21st century Earth. We wish for you to guide them in how it felt to live then. Aria stared. You built a theme world out of my grandparents' time, she said slowly. And you want me to be a tour guide? A guide. The sphere agreed. A translator of feeling. Your work in travel media makes you well suited. Compensation will be full access to collective knowledge within humane limits, upgrades to your local infrastructure, baseline financial security for you and designated contacts, and exclusive rights to document your experience for your home audience. Nova sent a private side message into her view. Estimated net worth increase, 3 orders of magnitude. Influence, increase, unbounded. Risk assessment, impossible with current data. Aria's fingers tingled. You are offering me the biggest collab in human history, she said. We are offering a mutually interesting exchange. The sphere replied. We will not cause permanent harm. You may return to Earth when the project stage is complete. You may decline. Why me? she asked again, softer now, a pause. Our study of your output, the sphere wrote, suggests that you still feel some confusion in the face of comfort. You ask about risk. Even when you are safe, this is useful to us. We lack that confusion. Aria thought of last night, when she had scrolled her own comment feed, feeling restless and bored. She thought of her recent trips, polished and easy, each hotel room blending into the next, like smooth tiles. If I go, she said, I can film it? Yes, the sphere replied, with some protections. Your people may see a little of what we have done. It may change how they feel about their own stage. She looked around her apartment. Every surface responded to her needs without complaint. The city outside pulsed in quiet lines, drones and rails moving in silent paths. Even the birds had tracking tags, their health watched by microsatellites. Nova, she said softly, give me a fast contract parse. I am already running it, Nova replied. No hidden traps I can see. There are unknowns, but no direct clauses that allow harm. You will be very far from any human support network. Say yes, said the part of her that lived for the next big thing. Say no, said the part that liked her morning coffee and her soft, predictable schedule. She took a deep breath. Okay, Aria said. Kardashev Collective. I accept. The sphere brightened. Thank you, Aria Vale, it said. A transfer vessel is already inbound. It will arrive in 2 hours. Earth local. Prepare yourself with any items of symbolic comfort. Physical belongings are not needed. We will meet you in orbit. The light shrank, folding in on itself like a movie played backward. Then, with a soft pop that she felt more in her teeth than in her ears, it was gone. Her kitchen felt strangely empty. She said, yes, you got all of that? Every photon. She laughed. A shaky sound. Make a new project folder, she said. Title it Invitation to Infinity. Lock it under my voice alone, and start a goodbye stream schedule. In going to space, but not the usual kind. As you wish, Nova replied. Should I contact your parents? Aria looked at her reflection in the glossy side of the coffee dispenser. Her eyes were wide, bright, alive in a way they had not been for months. Let me tell them, she said. This one I do without a camera. 2 hours later, when the sky above Austin peeled open like soft glass and a gentle, light black vessel slid down through the gap. Aria Vale stood on the rooftop of her building with one small bag and a heart pounding louder than any notification chime she had ever heard. The transfer vessel felt like stepping into a held breath. From the outside, it was a smooth, dark shape, neither sharp nor round. About the size of a city bus, its surface did not shine. It seemed to drink in light instead, making the air around it feel thicker. There were no seams, no engines, no visible means of control. A door opened for Aria without a sound. Not a sliding panel, not a hinge. The material simply flowed aside, leaving an opening shaped just large enough for her. Recording started, Nova said in her ear. 3 perspectives. I will maintain contact as long as their systems allow it. Got it, Aria said, and then stepped forward. Inside, the air was cool and dry, but not cold. The walls glowed with a soft, gentle light that came from nowhere and everywhere. Her footsteps made no sound. The floor met her feet like firm gel, adapting to her weight and stride. There were no seats, no windows, no control panels. "Hello," she called out. The walls responded, forming a kind of cradle shape near the center. It rose up from the floor like a gentle wave, stopping at the height of her knees. "She wants me to sit," she said to herself. "Likely," Nova said. Aria set her small bag down and sat in the hollow. It held her weight perfectly, adjusting as she settled in. A faint warmth rose through her clothes, relaxing muscles she had not known were tense. She took one last look at her own sky, seen through the open door. Blue, high, familiar. "I'll be back," she whispered, not sure if she meant it as a promise or a wish. The door flowed closed, then the soft light of the walls brightened again, this time with a gentle gradient that hinted at direction, as if the vessel wanted to give her a sense of up and down. There was no blast, no lurch, no sense of speed. Her ears did not pop. Her stomach did not sink. "Are we moving?" she asked. "Yes," Nova said. "Yes," Nova said. "We left the atmosphere 20 seconds ago." "What?" Aria twisted as if she could see through the wall. "I didn't feel anything. The vessel is canceling acceleration forces locally," Nova explained. "Our best guess is some form of space-time manipulation. I am learning as quickly as I can." Aria lay back in the cradle and let herself breathe. Her heart slowed, beat by bite. A soft shimmer passed through the air, like heat above a road. When it cleared, she was no longer alone. The being that appeared across from her did not have a fixed outline at first. It was like a person built from moving light and fine mist, shifting and reforming in small flowing shapes. Then, as she watched, it settled into something more stable. A tall, slim figure with limbs and a head wrapped in what looked like a long coat that moved as if underwater. Its face was smooth, with hints of features that felt more suggested than carved. Where eyes might be, there were 2 calm pools of bright color, not quite blue, not quite green. "Aria Vale," it said, not with its body, but from a point near her ear. The voice was clear, neutral, without gender to her ears. "Welcome. I am Nishra, a representative of the Kardashev Collective." Aria swallowed. "Hi," she said, raising one hand. "Imaria. But you knew that. I guess I should say thanks for the ride." Nishra tilted its head, a small, curious motion. "We are pleased you accepted," it said. "Your people rarely say yes to unknown invitations at this scale. You are trusted by many. This will help our project. You sound like you did customer research," she said. "Why do you look like that?" We studied your comfort signals, Neshra replied. Your people seem more at ease with forms that have some symmetry, some familiar limb structures. This is a simple field body projected from my true state. Where is your true state? Where is your true state? She asked. Difficult to point to, Neshra said. We are spread across many systems. What you speak to now is a focused part of that mind. We find it easier for you if we meet in shapes you can follow with your eyes. Aria tried to imagine a mind so wide that this person was just a small part of it, like one hand on a huge body that reached across stars. She failed, but the attempt left a strange spark of awe in her chest. She asked, We are going to a node, Neshra said, a place where many of us gather and where we run our simulations. The resort you will help with is one such simulation. We call it the Age of Scarcity, your toy Earth, your vacation struggle world. Neshra's face shifted in a way that might have been a smile. Your term is sharp, it said, but yes, our guests have forgotten how to feel lack. We help them remember. Why? Aria asked. You said you have no needs. Isn't that the dream? Why go backward? Because when all external needs are solved, Neshra said simply, inner systems still run. They were formed in conditions of risk and change. Without fresh input, they tire. Motivation fades. Curiosity drops. Caring loses shape. We solved hunger and disease and danger. We did not understand that we were also slowly turning off the very things that made experiences feel worth having. Aria thought of late night scrolling through perfect feeds, feeling strangely flat. So you built fake hunger, she said. Fake danger. We built controlled environments, Neshra corrected gently. Fake is not quite right. We shape matter and time in those spaces so that limits are real inside them. Our guests feel their body strain. They feel failure. They feel delay between wish and result. We remove their safety layers, but we separate these spaces from our main systems. No lasting harm reaches outside. The idea made her skin tingle. You could just turn off your comforts for a while, she said. Like a fast. We tried, Neshra said. It does not work well at our scale. Systems built to prevent harm fight such changes. Our oversight processes reverse them. The resort nodes are quarantined by design. Wetdi, Strong's nodes are quarantined by design. Our guests go there by choice, through contracts and clear boundaries. Their core minds stay safe in our wider network. Aria shifted in her seat. So what do you need from me exactly? She asked. You have data, you have records, you have simulations. Why fly in a random girl from Austin? Neshra's eyes brightened. Because we do not feel it, it said. We have models of grief, of fear, of boredom. We can recreate the patterns of your early markets, your weather, your traffic, your social rules, but we have not lived inside those for a full life cycle. Our oldest memories of such conditions have faded. We wish for our guests to have someone near them who grew up close enough to scarcity to still understand its shape. yet far enough to talk about it with calm. Aria almost laughed. I grew up in the safest century Earth has ever had, she said. I never missed a meal. I never lost a house. I took my first flight to space at 19. I am not some cave woman. Your world is still limited, Neshra said. You still trade time and effort for resource flows. You still feel pressure to stand out. You still know boredom. Our guests do not even understand boredom anymore, not in your sense. They have endless content and perfect experiences. They do not tire the way you do. This uses them up in another way. Aria felt a small cold spot under her ribs. How many guests? She asked. How big is this resort? Large, Neshra said. We did not hold back. It covers a full planetary surface in one of our systems. The gravity is shaped to match your Earth. The biosphere is tuned to your species level. We built cities and roads and air layers. We maintain weather systems. We allow some randomness inside, but not enough to threaten the larger node. Her head spun. You built a whole planet of cosplay, she said. We built a study and rest space. Neshra answered. Your people might call it a retreat. Our guests spend cycles there, taking roles suited to their curiosity. Some live as workers, some as leaders, some as farmers, some as drifters. They feel the grind of your old jobs, the delays in your services, the edge of not knowing if they will get what they want. Why early 21st century? She asked. Why not my time? Your time has softened many of the sharp edges, Neshra said. Our guests are drawn to the period when your technology could ease some pain, but not all. When your networks made you aware of distant lives, but did not yet soothe. Every discomfort, it is a rich balance of stress and hope. We tuned the resort to match. The wall nearest them shifted suddenly, becoming clear. Not clear like glass, but like an opening into another place. Outside, Aria saw the curve of something enormous. It glowed with dark gold and deep red bands of storm shaped by strange forces. Around it, like bright beads on a loop, hung many small suns, each held in place by radiant structures that reached out like frozen fireworks. She leaned forward, heart racing. Where are we? She breathed. This is a minor energy garden, Neshra said. We gather stellar output here for various uses. It is a toy compared to our full arrays, but it is closer to human scale. A toy, she repeated weakly. Tiny specks moved along the bright lines that held the little suns, like insects crawling on threads. Each speck was likely larger than any ship she had ever flown in. If my audience could see this, she said, they'd lose their minds. They will see some of it, Neshra said. We agreed you may show slices, but this is not the focus of your work with us. You will spend most of your time inside our Earth. Your Earth, she corrected automatically, then paused. I guess I don't know whose it is anymore. The clear wall softened again, returning to its gentle glow. Tell me about my job, she said, step by step. I need to know what I'm filming for them and what I'm doing for you. You will arrive first at our arrival hall, Neshra said. There you will see many of us in biomimetic clay bodies. These are artificial forms we can inhabit to feel gravity, joint strain, and other physical limits. They are built to resemble guests from many different origin points, not just your species. Some will look like you expect life to look. Others will not. Aria tried to picture a room full of such beings wrapped in bodies they wore like costumes. You will meet Lurien, Neshra continued. Lurien designed much of the Age of Scarcity resort. They think about culture and mood. They are very interested in you. Together, you and Lurien will adjust guest experiences. You will suggest which moments feel human enough. You will coach guests on how to act inside roles consistent with that era. You will correct when things feel too smooth. Too smooth, Aria repeated. You want it to feel rough. Correct, Neshra said. Not cruel. Not hopeless. Just sticky. Effortful, with friction between desire and result. This seems to be where your species found a lot of meaning. She thought of her grandparents talking about long drives in old cars, traffic, bills, arguments over small money. They had shaken their heads, but their eyes had lit up. Do your guests ever not like it? She asked. Do they panic? Some do, Neshra said. Some leave early. Some react strongly to hunger, or being ignored, or waiting in lines. But many ask for more. They call their stays the most vivid cycles of their recent existence. That is why we are expanding the resort. That is why you are here. And I just walk them through. Aria asked, like a tour group. You will start with small groups. Neshra said, you will join them in the resort, in a form matched to that era. You will live with them, eat with them, work with them. You will point out how it feels and why. You will tell them when they are acting in ways that break the mood. You will help them sink in. She imagined sitting in a fake diner with a circle of star beings stuffed into human skins, explaining the drama of waiting for a late bus. What if I mess up? She asked. What if I say the wrong thing? We will watch, Neshra said. We will learn with you. Error is part of the process, remember? Aria Vale. We are the ones who forgot how to feel small. You still remember. That gives you an advantage. The vessel shifted around them, a silent change in gravity that her body barely noticed. We are arriving, Neshra said. The walls melted. In their place rose a vast hall so wide that the far edges blurred into haze. The ceiling arched high overhead. A smooth, dim dome shot through with slow streams of light, like giant rivers crossing the sky. The floor shone like polished stone, patterned with faint lines that moved and shifted in gentle flows. Everywhere there were beings. Some were tall and slim like Neshra's chosen form, each wrapped in a shimmering coat of artificial flesh that almost looked human. Others had many arms or tails or clusters of eyes that blinked in strange rhythms. A few appeared as floating shapes held in clear shells that glowed softly. Colors moved over their surfaces, like thoughts made visible. All of them moved with careful grace, as if learning how to carry weight. Aria stepped out of the vessel, heart pounding. The floor felt firm and real under her feet. The air carried a faint aroma of clean metal and something like rain on hot stone. "This is our arrival hall," Neshra said, appearing at her side in its chosen body. "Guests come here to choose their resort roles. They try on biomimetic clay bodies. They ask questions. They practice simple motions." Aria watched as a tall, many-limbed being in a new, simple two-armed body took a step, wobbled, and laughed in a sound like chiming glass. She asked, excitement, nerves, curiosity. Above all, Neshra said, many of them have not felt time pass inside a body in a very long interval. They look forward to aches, to clumsy fingers, to forgetting things between moments. A smaller figure broke from the flow and moved toward them. It wore a human-shaped body with warm brown skin and tightly curled black hair. Its eyes, however, were a vivid, unnatural violet. Its eyes, however, were a vivid, unnatural violet. "Aria Vale," it said, smiling wide. "You are real. Excellent. This is Lurien," Neshra said. "Resort designer." Lurien gave a small, playful bow. "Welcome to our little experiment," Lurien said. "I have watched your videos. Your series on getting lost in old cities helped shape some of our street designs." "You watched my content," Aria said, half amused, half stunned. "You're like star gods. And you watched me complain about wrong hotel keys. Your wrong hotel keys video had strong engagement," Lurien said cheerfully. The mix of minor frustration and relief when the problem solved was very useful. Our guests missed that arc. Aria barked a short laugh. "This is insane," she said. "You have no idea." "We have many ideas," Lurien said. "We lack your grounded taste. That is why you are here. Walk with me." They guided her through the hall. As they moved, Aria saw stations where guests tested body parts. At one, long tables held rows of hands, each made of different materials. Soft, hard, ridged, smooth. A bright being slipped its essence into a clay hand, flexed each finger, and gasped in joy at the sensation of resistance. At another, a shallow pool flickered with gravity fields. Guests stepped in and out, feeling weight press down and then lift away. Some chose heavier settings, laughing as their knees bent. Others chose lighter, gliding in slow, delighted leaps. "You built a playground," Aria said. "We built training," Lurien replied. "Our guests need practice before they can enter the Age of Scarcity without breaking character or injuring a body. Your job here is to watch, advise, and share your feelings. Tell us when something looks wrong." They stopped at a raised platform. A large display showed a rotating sphere, their resort world. It looked like Earth at a glance, blue, green, white. But as it spun, she saw details that did not match. Continuance slightly bent. Oceans shifted, weather patterns more balanced than she remembered from old footage. "We based this on many of your past maps," Lurian said. "We smoothed some extremes. We do not want true disasters inside. Only controlled challenge." Aria narrowed her eyes. "Those storms look tame," she said. "That heat band near the equator is too even. People back then had to deal with scary weather. Not just cute rain for mood." Lurian's violet eyes lit. "Good," they said. "We need such notes. Later we will review your grandparents' stories with you, if you agree. We want to tune for almost too much, not gentle drizzle." A nearby guest stumbled in its new human-like body. It caught itself on a rail, then laughed, clinging tight. "I forgot balance," it said in a musical tone. "This is fascinating. You will see this often," Neshra told Aria. "For them, every limit is a new toy." The word toy tugged at her. "These bodies," she said, nodding at the crowd. "Biomimetic clay." "Yes," Lurian said. "They are grown from matter fields tuned to match biological response. They bruise, they sweat, they tire. They heal slowly compared to our usual rates. They are fragile enough to trigger careful behavior." "Do they feel pain?" Aria asked. "Yes," Neshra said, "but we cap it. No lasting trauma. They need to feel enough to remember care, not enough to shatter. And I get one of these," she said. "You will get many," Lurian replied. "You will cycle through roles. Sometimes you will be a worker in a call center, sometimes a street seller, sometimes a gig driver, sometimes a mid-level manager. You will show our guests how these roles felt, what small victories mattered, what pressures shaped people." Aria imagined herself sitting in a fake open-plan office, answering old-style calls about bills, teaching a being that used to move stars how to handle an angry customer. She half wanted to laugh, half wanted to lie down. "When do we start?" she asked. "First orientation. You need to see the resort from outside before you enter. Come." They led her to a segment of the hall where the floor rose in a gentle curve. As they approached, the air above it bent, forming a window into space. The resort world hung there, close and sharp. Clouds twisted over blue seas and green land masses. Tiny lines of light marked cities. Dark stretches showed forests and empty plains. Storm systems curled across the surface, some small and neat, some large and wild. Aria's chest tightened. "It feels wrong," she said softly. "Too clean. We can make it dirtier," Lurian said, "within safe margins. Tell us where to add cracks." She pointed. "Those city edges," she said. "They need messy sprawl, not perfect circles. And the air over some places should look hazy, not clear. People back then breathed bad air. It changed how days felt. It made sunsets pretty, but also scary." Lurian nodded eagerly. "Yes, we will add that. What else?" "The nights," she said. make them patchy. Some areas bright, some dark. People felt different kinds of safety in each. Nashra watched her with calm attention. "You are already useful," it said. "We were going to add you later. I am glad we brought you early." Aria pressed a hand against the invisible barrier of the window. Part of her longed to fall down toward that fake earth, to feel heavy air and dirty streets and real, annoying humans. Another part pulled back, scared of losing herself in their game. "So I go down there with your guests," she said. "How long do we stay?" "It depends on the package they buy," Lurian said. "Some come for short bursts, 3 days of rush, then home. Some want long arcs, years inside, building fake careers, raising fake families. For them, the resort slows time. Their main minds watch from outside, but the part inside feels a full life." Aria shivered. "And me?" she asked. "You will be linked to a stable anchor in this node," Nashra said. "Your time drift will be managed. Your body will age at your own world's pace, not the resort's. We do not want to steal your decades. You will drop in and out as guide, not as permanent resident." "That's good," she said, relief loosening her throat. "Your first assignment," Lurian said, "will be a small group who chose a city grind experience. They will live in a copy of early 21st century Austin. They will work in service jobs, create minor art, feel financial limits, and deal with simple social networks. You will be their cultural authenticity liaison." Aria blinked. "My home. We thought it might help you," Lurian said gently. "Familiarity can ground you, and your knowledge will make the experience richer." She stared at the planet. Down there, in some small corner, they had rebuilt streets she had walked, shops she had known only from stories, skies with more smog and more stars. "I used to fake struggle," she said quietly. "For views, I picked the safe paths, then acted stressed for extra clicks. You saw that? You still wanted me?" "Yes," Nashra said, "because even in your staging, we saw real sparks of discomfort. You were never fully at ease with ease. That is rare around you now. It is common among us. We believe you can help us remember why limits mattered." Aria drew in a slow breath. Above her, the hall hummed with movement and light. Around her, ancient minds wrapped themselves in fragile skins to feel small again. Below her, a whole world waited, tuned to a version of hard living that her own time had left behind. "Okay," she said, "show me how to teach star tourists what it felt like to wait for a late bus in the rain." Lurian laughed, not unkindly. "First, they said, we teach you how to stand in that rain without flinching away, even though you will know you are safe. We start with the body." They guided her toward a row of resting pods, each shaped like a half-opened shell. "Step in," Nashra said. Aria climbed into the nearest pod. The surface beneath her was cool and smooth. As she lay back, a soft arch closed over her, leaving her face open to the hall. Do not worry, Lurian said. This is just a fitting. You will remain yourself. The pod hummed faintly. Sensation flickered in her limbs like pins and needles without pain. For a moment she felt her fingers lengthen, her legs shorten, her skin thicken. Many possible bodies brushed past her awareness in quick, bright flashes. Strong, weak, tall, bent, young, old. Then the pod system settled. We found a match for first entry, Neshra said. Human female, early 20s, average strength, lower middle income class for that era. You will feel clumsier than you do now. You will tire faster. You will have less smooth access to information. Aria opened her eyes wide. I already feel weird, she said. Everything is heavier in my mind. Good, Lurian said. Hold on to that. We are about to take you down to your first welcome tour. Your guests will arrive soon after. Now, she asked, heart skipping. Soon, Neshra said. First, we let you walk your old streets alone. You need to meet our Age of Scarcity before you perform it for others. The pod opened fully. Aria stepped out, legs a little shaky. The hall seemed brighter, louder. Her head felt full but also strangely simple, like someone had turned down a background hum she had lived with for years. Nova, she tried. No answer came. Local systems only, Neshra said. Your Earth AI cannot reach you inside the resort. You will have a guide linked to us instead. That is part of the design. Limited help, limited certainty. Aria sucked in a breath. So this is what you sell, she said. To beings who can hold stars. Yes, Neshra said, calmly. We sell them the chance to remember what it was like to not know what comes next. Lurian touched a control. The floor under Aria shifted. The arrival hall blurred. For a moment, she felt as if she was falling sideways through a long, slow turn. Light stretched, sound thinned, her new body hummed. Then her feet found cracked concrete. The sky above was a faded blue, streaked with long airplane trails. The air smelled of dust, faint oil, and something just slightly rotten. Far off she heard the growl of many engines, and the distant rise and fall of city noise. Aria Vale stood in the middle of a street she half recognized from old photos of Austin, Texas, but with wires overhead, older cars at the curb, and a weight in her chest that had nothing to do with gravity. She took her first real breath in the Age of Scarcity and felt very clearly the difference between pretending to struggle and actually not knowing what this day would ask of her. Rain hit Aria's face like a slap. It was not hard, not painful, just cold and plain. It ran down her cheeks, dripped into the collar of her cheap cotton jacket, soaked her hair flat against her head. The wind shoved the drops sideways so they found every gap. She stood under a broken streetlight on a street that looked almost like the Austin she knew from old pictures. The buildings were boxy and tired. The road had cracks full of dark water. A bus stop leaned a little to one side, with a plastic bench that felt slick and cold under her when she had tried to sit. Then the bus had not come. She checked the time on the simple phone they had given her for this body. No smart lenses, no Nova in her ear, just a small, bright rectangle that showed numbers and simple icons. 30 minutes late. Her toes were going numb in thin sneakers. "This is miserable," she said aloud. "Yes," said a voice only she could hear. Neshra's calm tone came through a small earbud tucked deep near her right ear. The link felt faint and far away compared to the clear presence of Nova back home. "Your heart rate is high," Neshra said. "Your muscles are tensing. Do you feel anger?" "A little," Aria said. "Mostly just tired and annoyed. I don't know when he'll get home. I'm cold. I'm hungry. I'm bored." She laughed without humor. "Your guests are going to pay so much for this," she said, waiting in the rain. "Who knew? Many of them watched your pre-war media archives of such moments," Neshra said. "They call these pure days, days where nothing huge happens, and yet effort is still required." Aria shifted from foot to foot. She had spent the morning walking the fake Austin alone. Lurian's team had done a careful job. The streets had just enough trash. The air had just enough harsh smell. People in this simulation moved with a mix of hurry and drag that felt right. Some smiles, some frowned. No one sparkled with the smooth radiance of the arrival hall. She had bought a cheap coffee from a corner shop. The drink had been slightly burned with too much sugar. Her stomach had turned. Yet the warmth had still somehow tasted good. Then Lurian had told her, through Neshra, to stand at this bus stop. No car pickups, no drones, just a bus that might or might not come. "It is a good baseline," Neshra had said. "You must feel it fully before you help others feel it." Now, teeth chattering, Aria watched car after car splash past. Their tires threw lines of dirty water across her shoes. She remembered her old line from her mornings. On real Earth. Where is the chaos? This, she thought, was a tiny piece of it. "Buzz approaching," Neshra said shortly after, tone dry. "You will board. Then your first guest group will arrive for the real session this afternoon." The bus lumbered into view. Lights dull behind sheets of rain. As it pulled up, it hissed and squealed. Its doors groaned. Warm, damp air poured out, full of body smell and old fabric. Aria climbed on, dropped a small clinking fare into a slot, and moved down the aisle. She grabbed a metal pole sticky with some past spill and hung on as the bus lurched away. She let herself feel every sway, every small jolt. Her stomach rolled. Her head ached. A baby cried somewhere behind her. Two teenagers argued in low, tense voices. "This feels real," she murmured. "It is as real as we can make it," Neshra said. "Inside this bubble, the matter behaves like your ancestors' matter. The energy flows are slowed. The randomness is raised. You cannot call up perfect knowledge here. You cannot call your AI. You have noticed that, yes?" "Yes," she said softly. There had been a sharp, lonely moment earlier when she had said, "Nova, out of habit." The silence that answered had scared her more than the rain. "Good," Neshra said. "Hold on to that feeling. Our guests will chase it." By the time she reached the small apartment they had given her, top floor, old elevator, peeling paint. Her clothes were half dry from the bus heater and half still damp from the walk up. The place smelled like old dust and faint soap. A small heater struggled in the corner, clicking on and off. She changed into the spare outfit folded in the plain dresser. Simple jeans, a faded blue hoodie, cotton socks that felt amazing after the wet shoes. As she pulled the hoodie over her head, she caught her reflection in a cheap mirror. This body looked a lot like her real self, just a bit younger and a bit softer. A little less control around the eyes, a little more roundness in the cheeks. She stared at the tired lines that already showed from a single long, cold, hungry morning. What did people do with all this low-grade discomfort? She asked. They built stories from it. They bonded over it. They made art. They fought and forgave. They grew stubborn. They learned what they could take. Our guests want to taste those arcs again. And then they get to leave, Aria said, back to their light rivers and toy suns. Yes, Neshra agreed. As you will leave back to your soft walls and smooth coffee. But while we are here, we will treat these feelings as serious on their own terms. That is your role. A tone sounded in her ear. Guests have arrived in the city shell. Neshra said. Group size, 8, roll package, city grind. Prepare to meet them at the shared apartment. Aria took a deep breath, shook her hands out, and left her small room. The shared apartment was on the second floor of the same building, down a dim hallway with flickering lights. Inside, the space looked like every bland rental unit she had ever seen in old videos. Beige walls, worn couch, small kitchen with scratches on the counter. 8 figures stood around the room, each in a fresh human clay body. They looked almost normal at first glance. Different heights, skin tones, hairstyles, jeans, hoodies, work shirts, sneakers, hairstyles, jeans, hoodies, but their eyes gave them away. There was a strange brightness there, too clean, too clear. Their hands moved with careful interest, touching the back of a chair, the edge of a table, the fraying fabric of the couch. They were like very rich tourists in borrowed thrift store clothes. Aria put on her best welcomed log smile. Hey, she said, Aria, I'll be your cultural authenticity liaison for this session. You can call me Aria or liaison, whatever feels natural. A tall man with dark blonde hair and light brown skin stepped forward. His movements were slightly stiff, like he was still learning how to place his feet. I am traveling under the name Mark, he said. I come from a section of the collective you might label outer arrays. I have not felt hunger in a span longer than your recorded religions. A small woman with wide shoulders and close-cut hair raised her hand eagerly. Imkira, she said. I am excited to experience being broke. Is that the right phrase? A thin, nervous-looking person in a too-big jacket shifted their weight from foot to foot. "I chose the role Sam," they said quietly. "Preference tags, anxiety, uncertain future, art dream, family pressure. I hope that is okay." Aria's smile faltered at the corners. "Yeah," she said slowly. "That's a very detailed package." Lurian's voice joined Neshraz in her ear, softer and more excited. "See," Lurian said, "they come with such clear wishes. Use that, shape their time." "Remember your brief," Neshra added. "First sessions are guided. Keep struggle light but present. Let them taste, not drown." Aria looked around the room. Mark opened and closed his artificial hands, watching the skin fold and stretch. Kira bounced lightly on her feet, testing muscle and bone. Sam kept glancing toward the small, grimy window, eyes wide. "Okay," Aria said. "Here is how this works. This is a copy of an old city. People here have jobs, worries, dreams, and limits. You'll live here for what feels like 2 weeks. Out there, in the hall, only a small amount of time will pass for your larger minds. In here, it will feel long and full." They all nodded, drinking in each word. "You'll have basic roles," she continued. "Some of you will work in food service, some in call centers, some as rideshare drivers. You'll share this apartment,